Hello, folks. I'm back in here again, and I was wanting to tell you a little story about when my first husband, uh, he and I had already split up, and I stayed in no trailer out next to where my kids were at, so I could be close to my kids, because he was trying to keep my kids away from me. And he was planning on not letting me take them off that hill or anything like that. So we was kind of like Hatfields and McCoys, so to speak. But I stayed in that trailer out there so I could be with my children on a daily basis. Um, More or less for where my husband could keep an eye on me, whatever I was doing or anything. But anyway, he brought some company in one time and I was real sick. And I was laying down when he came in with his company, and he told me to get up, and I tried to tell him that I didn't feel good. And he said, "Woman," he said, "get up and cook." He said, "We got company." And I kept telling him, I said, "I don't really feel good." I was running a fever and stuff, kind of like you do when you got the flu. But so I got up there by the oven, and I was going to fix biscuits and gravy. And I opened up the oven door and had it standing open. And he got mad at me and just jumped over there and slapped me across the oven door. And I hit the floor, and he had slapped me so hard across the face that it left a mark on it. But anyway, folks, what we wanted to talk about today is how emotional abuse can wind up escalating into physical abuse. Yes. Um, if you're with a guy and he starts getting emotional abusive, he's gonna start out lightly and he's gonna gaslight you, and tell you things about yourself that you know is not true, and then he's gonna start escalating each time, getting worse and worse. And it's going to start happening on a daily basis till it gets real bad. And then the narcissist becomes a stick of dynamite, like he's getting ready to blow up in any given time. And he acts aggravated with you, but don't let it make you think that it's your fault. It's not your fault, ladies. That's just how a narcissist is. Um, Whenever the big red flag happens, ladies, you better start saving up the money and making safety plans and thinking about trying to get out, because if it's escalating to that point, then it's not going to get any better, okay? Um, the narcissist is already ramping up and he knows he's gotten by with those other times. As far as getting emotional abusive, um, he's going to get worse and worse each time until he finally explodes. And then when he does, um, the thing about it is it could become very dangerous to you, because you don't know what the narcissist is capable of. He could just lightly physical abuse you, or he could start strangling you. Or smacking you around to leave bruises all over you, even your eyes. And you got to be careful about him getting you in the eyes, folks, because the eyes are what keeps us functioning. I know, I've been there. A lot of people think that if it's just emotional abuse, it's not a big deal, but it winds up being that way later. Don't think that the narcissist is going to stop at emotional abuse. He's not. It's going to escalate. So I just wanted to come in here and warn you all about that, But Yeah, there's so many things that I've been through. It's kind of hard to remember every single little detail about stuff. But the one down in Lebanon, Kentucky, he was highly dangerous. Uh, if I went outside and I was going to try to garden or something like that, he kept a close watch on me. And if he decided that he didn't want me to stay outside, he would come out there and get me. And if I didn't want to go in the house, then he would get really highly abusive and start wanting to hit me and stuff like that. But I had to stay around him all the time. He watched me like a guard dog on a daily basis. And his abuse started escalating, getting worse and worse. Every single day I would have to put up with something different, you know. So I knew right then and there I was going to have to make a safety plan to get out of that situation, because if I didn't, then it was going to get worse. You know, and that was before I realized that they had shelters that you could go to get yourself out of domestic violence situations. But I'm glad that I took the step that I did, folks. I gathered up my ID and my important things that I knew I could carry on foot. And I headed out one day whenever the narcissist was out doing something to the truck. He took it down the road, and I knew he was going to be gone for a couple hours. So I got up and I gathered up my stuff and I headed right on down the road on foot. And I didn't know what I was going to do, you know. I didn't know how I was going to make it, because I didn't have a penny to my name, you know, saved up for myself. But I walked down the road, even ran into an old stray dog coming down the opposite direction. And I didn't know if I was going to get dog bit being out there or what, you know, but I just hoped for the best, you know. That's all I could do, folks. And I kept looking behind me and making sure that he wasn't coming home earlier than I thought, because I just could see him coming up real fast to try to get me. And what he would do is, if he knew that I was leaving, he would come and get in the truck and come down there and pick me up bodily and put me back in the truck and take me home. Because I remember one time when he was abusing me, I was going to run to the neighbors down the road real quick and call the police. He got his truck and ran down there and got me and picked me up bodily and put me in the truck and took me back home. And I was really crying and upset, folks. I didn't know what to do. I was totally in this by myself, you know. And where we was living at, houses were like 5 miles apart and stuff. So we were out there in a secluded area where there wasn't anybody around. But I tell you, you know, God was with me, because I tell you, I was in a bad situation, folks. This guy got so abusive that I had to go in the woods and hide. And sometimes he would, one time I went down to hide from him, and it wasn't too far away from the house, but it was far enough away that I could get a little bit of peace of mind from him, you know, where he had to look for me to find me. And finally, he come walking down there and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Nothing. I just came down here for a walk." But I told him that to keep myself out of danger, folks. I was doing that to hide from him. So, you know, I just took every safety measure that I could, the best I could, to keep him from hurting me. But Yeah, this is what you got to do, ladies. You got to make a safety plan and plan on getting out of abuse, because you know it's not going to get any better, right? But I wanted to come back in here and tell you these things. You know, I'm hoping that you will take those steps to save up your money, take the safety plan, call the domestic hotline if you have to. But try to keep yourself from being abused, folks. That's a bad situation, you know. But I wrote myself a little script there on emotional abuse, and I'll read it to you. It says, when emotional abuse escalates, if you are being gaslighted more often than you were used to, it's probably a sign it's starting to be physical. The narcissist will show higher levels of anger. He will act like we are the worst person he will act like we're the worst person he ever met on all levels. His insecurities are getting the best of him. It's not your fault. It's the narcissist. Remember, nothing you do will change him. It's time to leave when it escalates. If not, it will not be a pretty sight for you. Now the narcissist is becoming a stick of dynamite, getting ready to blow up. What will you do now? You will save up money for yourself. Do not let the narcissist know about the money. Call domestic violence hotline. When the narcissist leaves you, leave and go to the nearest shelter in your town. This is the script that I wrote for you ladies, and I hope it's very helpful. And once again, thank you for joining my YouTube channel. I hope you have a blessed day. It's going to be a beautiful day, ladies. Time to get out and get some exercise, right? Well, I hope you have a nice day, and thank you for joining my YouTube channel. You guys are awesome. Bye-bye.